Awesome.
Nailed it.
See you around. You feel that they will come.
Right.
So that's not the case anymore.
Through that suffering and through that community, I became a better Catholic.
Welcome back. I'm Darnell Miller, and today I'm here in Dallas, Texas at the Evangelical Catholic Conference Priests for an Apostolic Age. And today I have the pleasure to sit down with the man behind the whole thing himself, Jason Simon.
Thanks
for being
having
here.
me. Yeah, this is great.
So I want to jump straight into the question of what is an apostolic age?
Yeah, an apostolic age is one where less and less people in the culture are gravitating toward Christian structures. Less and less people are turning to Jesus and even to God in the midst of troubles, in the midst of existential struggles. In past ages, people would come to church more often. In past ages, kids who were raised in a Christian home would stay Christian. Kids who were raised in a Catholic home would stay Catholic. They might even continue to live in a Catholic neighborhood. But in an apostolic age, people aren't gravitating toward Christian structures anymore. If you invite them, there's a lot of skepticism to coming, and they're gravitating toward relationships and other ways of coping with life outside of the church and outside of Christianity. So it's a challenge for the church.
So that framework of like a Christian background may not be there for some people anymore. And so that fundamentally means that the way we have to approach them, the way we have to evangelize them is different because their starting point may not have an understanding of what the Christian doctrine is, what the Catholic doctrines are.
Yeah, exactly. And we can't simply just hope that they come. Mm-hmm. And so Curtis Martin last night in the keynote said something really poignant, which was the Great Commission is go. And for a long time, Christendom has operated under the assumption that they will come. Mm-hmm. And so that's the fundamental shift is how does the church go into the marketplace? How does the church go into dark places? Into places where church structures can't go.
Mm-hmm. So it's anti-Field of Dreams, essentially.
Yeah,
that they will
that's
come.
right.
So that's not the case
not going to happen
anymore.
anymore. Yeah, exactly.
And so we're here at this conference, and it's for priests. And why is it particularly important to empower the priests to understand the age that we're coming into and how to operate within it?
Yeah. Well, the church, the parish structure, the meaning, the reason for the parish structure has to change in an apostolic age. For a long time, the parish structure was there to provide a place for the community that naturally happened when people came. Then the parish structure kind of became a place to get people involved, so they wouldn't get involved in a lot of secular activities. They'd have a community and a refuge of involvement. The parish sometimes became a place that was thought to be a center of evangelization. But as less and less people come and less people come to our evangelization efforts, even on the parish grounds, now what is the parish? And so that's the paradigm shift that we want to start helping priests to prepare for. When all of that falls away, what is the parish? And the parish is always going to be, and it always has been, a center of apostolic formation and training. The parish is always in a place where lay people come and receive the Eucharist, lay people come and receive teaching and formation, and lay people come and receive the tools they need to be relevant in the marketplace as witnesses for Jesus. Yeah. So that's the paradigm shift that has to happen, and the priests are the banner carriers for that paradigm shift.
And I think that's especially poignant in America. I know in Europe, like the parish or the church tended to be at the center of town and the world revolved around it. Yeah. And in America, that's not the case. There's no center in a lot of our major cities anymore, and going to a church is going out of your way to go. Right. And so just even I think our mindset from that perspective, like church isn't the center of our world the way, even in a physical sense. Yes. And that just has effect. So I think having that mentality, that mindset of like we need to call people in and then send them out to bring more people in, just from a physical standpoint needs to happen. Yes. Because people aren't going to just find themselves at a church by accident.
Right, exactly. And the more a pastor pursues relentless activity at the parish, sucking lay people out of the world into volunteering at the parish, some of that could happen and should happen. There's good activity that should be happening in the parish. But if a pastor has an insatiable appetite for activity at the parish, then he's going to be creating a flow that's counter to the command to go. And his church though it feels active and busy, it's actually not going to be fruitful for the Great Commission, because he's taking his people out of the world where they can be making disciples and bringing them into the parish where they're mere volunteers.
Oh yeah, that's such a great insight, and that's such a good thing to think about as we consider the calls to serve others in our faith, of how are we doing it and how are we going out to reach people that we wouldn't reach? Because it's easy to stay in our community, to stay in our lane, but going out is what we're called to do.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. Like if I have an atheist neighbor, how much time do I have to spend with my atheist neighbor to get him to trust me, to learn about his struggles, to get vulnerable with him, and to get to the point where I could share my hope in Jesus with him in a natural way that's not a turnoff, and then eventually lead him into practices of prayer, scripture, eventually the sacraments that could lead him to discipleship. This is a long, arduous, prayer-filled, fasting-filled process that I have to take on as a layperson, because my neighbor's not going to come to church. But if I'm busy volunteering at the church, not only do I not have time to help my kids become Christians, because I can't take that for granted, I definitely don't have time to reach out to my neighbors. So that's where the pastors, the priests, have to start shifting their expectations of lay people and start feeding them. So we talk about the parish becoming not an engine for evangelization, but the fuel. It has to be the fuel. And if it's the engine, it's just going to suck lay people in to feed the engine. If the lay people are the fuel for the engine, they're going to get burned up. But if the parish is the fuel, giving lay people the propulsion they need to get into the world, we'll change the world.
Absolutely.
So that's the paradigm shift that needs to happen.
Well, Jason, the work you guys are doing is amazing, and I'm excited to see the fruits of this conference. So,
Me too.
Thank you so much for spending time and sitting down and talk with us.
Thank you. This is great to talk. Yeah.
And thank you for watching.